Hello everybody, and today we're going to be showcasing the third iteration of the Predator Valkyr build. But to give it a proper showing, we're going to need some enemies with a little bit of fight in them. So we're going to Circulus on Lua to fight enemies of level 180 to 200.
Each enemy is more powerful.
We'll be heavily relying on the paralysis ability today with the prolonged paralysis augment. Overt Bond will make sure our pet is invisible whenever we finish or kill an enemy. And Arcane Trickery will make sure we're invisible whenever we finish or kill an enemy. As long as we're invisible, we might as well use Arcane Crepuscular to add 30% to our ability strength and 3x to our final critical damage multiplier. Valkyr's passive grants 25% melee damage for every finisher kill we perform. That means after just 12 finisher kills, we are capped out at plus 300% melee damage. Let's take a look at the build. First, as mentioned, this is a prolonged paralysis build, so range is king. Archon Stretch gives us 45%, while giving us energy regen from our Sentinel. Overextended gives us another 90%, while dropping strength by 60. We'll make that back up with Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, and Power Drift to settle us at 154%, plus another 55% from Growing Power and Arcane Crepuscular. Primed Flow activates our Tau Forged Purple Archon Shards and gives us a deep energy pool, and even though our energy recovery is good with Archon Stretch and Entropy, we'll also use Streamline to get a few more casts. Eternal War is our flex slot, so that we don't have to worry about duration, we don't. Round finishers deal true damage, which has no modifier, meaning it is the same against all factions. It applies to health and overguard, bypassing shields and ignoring damage reduction from armor. The best weapon for ground finishers in the game is conveniently Valkyr Talons at 54x true damage. However, we're going to be using the Prisma Obex, a sparring weapon that deals 30x true damage. There are a few reasons for this. First, Valkyr Talon's damage is based on our ability strength, requiring us to build for it when it would be difficult without compromising the rest of our build. Second, Valkyr Talons cannot have a Riven, while Obex can, which grants an additional source of finisher damage. And third is because of the Obex exclusive augment, Entropy Detonation. This mod grants 1000 blast damage plus 20% of the enemy's max health to all enemies in a 10-meter range when you perform a finisher kill. Additionally, it grants access to Entropy, which deals 1000 magnetic damage with guaranteed proc to enemies in 25 meters, while also granting us 43.75 energy instantly and 43.75 energy over 30 seconds, with a 30-second cooldown between activations. Next, we're going to take a moment to talk about our companion Sentinel, Dirga. Dirga is serving three functions for us. First, he is priming the enemies for conditioned overload by using Arc Coil repeatedly. Anything he zaps is hit with all 6 elements on his weapon. Mix and match as you like, but don't use radiation or you might get shot in the crossfire. Second, Tenacious Bond is applying 1.2x final critical damage multiplier to our attacks. And third, he's increasing our loot with spare parts. Every 15 seconds, he'll target an enemy to drop 200% more loot, but Manifold Bond will reduce the cooldown to see repeated activations. As for the rest, standard utility and survival mods. Since we don't use Valkyr Talons, we don't use Hysteria. That makes it our subsume slot, and you can replace it with whatever you like. I like to use Omamori. It allows me an extra layer of protection against stray bullets fired at my squad. Something I want to showcase with this build is how we deal with Overguard, notoriously troublesome as enemies with are resistant to crowd control and won't be drawn in. See that Leech Eximus over there, taunting us? We're going to proc Magnetic with Entropy, increasing Overguard damage by 100%. Paralysis deals a small amount of damage itself, and Entropy Detonation explodes the enemies we do draw in until that Eximus is taunting us from at our feet. Next up, it's time to talk about our melee. 150 damage plus 945% from Conditioned Overload, Valkyr's passive, and Primed Pressure Point, bringing us to 1418. Another 1642 impact from our Riven gives us 3060, and 3402 more from melee exposure for 6462 damage. I've already mentioned Tenacious Bond, 5 Tau Forged Violet Archon Shards, and Arcane Crepuscular. Add in Galvanized Steel and Cold Priming, and we have 16.2x critical damage multiplier in mission. With our Riven, Galvanized Steel, and the Blood Rush bonus, we're looking at 218% critical chance at a 12x combo multiplier. Speaking of multipliers, we'll multiply the finishing damage by 205% with our Riven and Finishing Touch. We'll add in Primed Reach since the fists need a little bit of help in that department, and Entropy Detonation ties it all together. Since we've seen most of what this build does, let's just jump ahead in the footage.
The sentient has detected you. Fighters incoming.
Did you see any sentience? I didn't see any sentience.
The longer you hold out, the deeper I can search. But if you need to leave...
In case you were wondering, yes, it works to kill the Thrax also.
Drawn to this cursed place of stolen lives. They will drain your life support unless they are destroyed.
Well, that's all there is to show for this build, except for maybe some ripline antics. I'll head to the extraction and see you in the next one.
All manner of Oricon technology may work here due to the Circulus's proximity. If you have a necromech, you may use it.
Your will was greater. This is good.